Have you ever been in a situation where you gave someone your all, your time, your energy, even your heart, only to be met with indifference? You went out of your way to show her you cared, sacrificing your own needs to ensure she felt valued. But instead of appreciation, all you got was a cold shoulder, or worse, outright rejection. It stings, doesn't it? That feeling of being dismissed as though everything you did meant nothing. As men, we're often told to man up, to suppress our emotions and move on without a second thought. But deep down, that rejection stays with us. It eats away at our confidence, leaving us questioning our worth. Was I not good enough? Did I make a mistake somewhere? These thoughts linger, pulling us into a cycle of self-doubt. Most men make the same mistake after being rejected. They chase. They send messages, make calls, and try to explain themselves, hoping to reignite what's been lost. But here's the harsh truth. Chasing only makes things worse. It gives away your power and reinforces the idea that your worth depends on someone else's approval. What if I told you there's a better way? A way to reclaim your confidence, your dignity, and your sense of self-worth? The answer lies in silence. Not silence as an act of revenge, but silence as a tool for self-control, growth, and strength. Because when you stop chasing, when you remove your presence from her life, something remarkable happens. She begins to notice. She starts to feel your absence, and slowly, the dynamic shift. Today, we're going to explore why silence is the ultimate power move for men, and how it transforms both you and the situation. Ready to take back control? Let's get phase 1. Her initial indifference started when you first choose silence. You might expect her to notice immediately. You might think the absence of your text, calls, or presence will shake her world. But here's the truth. At first, she likely won't even flinch. Her life without you might feel like a relief, a chance to enjoy the space she's convinced herself she needed. Why does this happen? It's because in her mind, you've always been there. She's grown accustomed to your attention, your efforts, and your consistency. She assumes it's a permanent fixture, something she can take for granted. Your silence doesn't register as a loss. Instead, it feels temporary. She's confident that you'll come back because you always have to. Her, this is just a phase, not a permanent change during this stage. She might even convince herself that letting you go was the right decision. She tells herself that she's free now, able to focus on her own life without the distraction of your care. She dives into distractions, hanging out with friends, posting pictures on social media, or engaging in surface-level conversations on the surface. She seems unaffected, even thriving. But don't be fooled. This is the calm before the storm for many men. This phase is the hardest, watching her appear indifferent. Even happy can feel like a slap in the face. The instinct to reach out to remind her of your presence can be overwhelming. But this is exactly where most men fail. They let their emotions take over and break their silence, chasing validation that won't come. Don't fall into this trap. Your silence isn't about her reaction, it's about reclaiming your power. Stoicism teaches us to control what we can and let go of what we cannot. Right now, her indifference is out of your hands. What you can control is how you respond to it. This is your moment to focus on yourself instead of dwelling on her lack of reaction. Channel that energy into your own growth. Hit the gym. Learn a new skill. Reconnect with friends and family. Do the things that remind you of your value outside of her approval. As the days pass, her confidence in her decision remains intact, but cracks are beginning to form beneath the surface. She doesn't see it yet, but the absence of your presence is starting to settle in while she's busy enjoying her supposed freedom. She's unknowingly planting the seeds of regret. Your silence, though seemingly unnoticed at first, is working. It's giving her the space to experience life without you, a life she thought she wanted. And while she may not realize it yet, that space is beginning to feel emptier than she anticipated. For now, your role is simple. Stay silent, stay disciplined, and stay focused on yourself. This stage isn't about her, it's about you. The man who doesn't chase, doesn't plead, and doesn't beg is a man who commands respect. And as long as you hold firm, the balance will start to shift in ways you can't yet see. Remember this. Her initial indifference isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning. Your silence isn't an absence, it's a statement. And that statement is saying, I know my worth, and I won't settle for less. So, stay strong. The journey has just begun, and the real impact of your silence is still to come. At first, your phase 2, the first signs of emptiness, silence might seem like nothing. To her, life continues and she carries on as though your absence doesn't matter. But as time passes, something subtle starts to shift. It's not dramatic or obvious, but it's there. Those first signs of emptiness creeping into her world, it begins with the little things she no longer sees. Your name pop up on her phone with a good morning text. The balls that used to brighten her day are gone. The thoughtful gestures she once dismissed now feel like a distant memory. At first, she brushes it off. It's no big deal, she tells herself. I'll hear from him eventually. But deep down, a tiny voice whispers, "What if I don't?" This is the power of your silence. It's not loud or confrontational, it's quiet and consistent, like a shadow in the background that grows larger with time. And as it grows, so does the space you once occupied in her life. What she thought was a temporary pause now feels more permanent. And it's in this permanence that the first cracks begin to form. She starts to notice the void in her daily routine. It's in the moments when she reaches for her phone out of habit, only to realize there's no message from you. It's in the small reminders, like a song on the radio or a place you used to visit together, that bring back memories. She thought she'd move past these moments might seem insignificant, but they're the seeds of something much bigger at this stage. She won't admit it, not to herself, and certainly not to anyone else on the surface. She might still act like everything's fine. She'll post pictures, spend time with friends, and distract herself with activities. But behind the smiles and the carefully curated social media posts, there's a growing sense of discomfort. She doesn't fully understand it yet, but she feels it. A quiet emptiness that lingers no matter what she does. For you, this stage is a test of patience. It's tempting to break the silence, especially when you sense she's beginning to feel your absence. But remember, the impact of your silence lies in its consistency. If you reach out now, you risk undoing all the progress you've made. This is the moment to stay strong and trust the process. Stoicism teaches us to embrace discomfort as a necessary part of growth right now. Both you and she are feeling the strain of the silence in different ways. For her, it's the discomfort of realizing that life without you isn't as fulfilling as she thought. For you, it's the challenge of resisting the urge to seek validation. But this discomfort is where transformation happens for both of you. As the days turn into weeks, the signs of emptiness become harder for her to ignore. She might try to fill the void with distractions, nights out, shallow conversations, or even other people, but none of it works. The absence of your presence isn't something she can replace with surface-level interactions. It's deeper than that, and the more she tries to avoid it, the stronger it becomes for you. This is where discipline becomes crucial. Use this time to focus on yourself, your goals, your passions, and your personal growth. This isn't about waiting for her to notice your absence. It's about proving to yourself that you're strong enough to thrive without her recognition. Every day you stay silent is a day you invest in your own future. The first signs of emptiness might seem small, but they're powerful. They're the beginning realization that what she lost wasn't just someone who cared, it was someone irreplaceable. And as those signs grow louder, so does the impact of your silence. Be patient, stay focused, and remember the emptiness you're starting to feel is the foundation of a lesson she didn't know she needed. And for you, it's a reminder that your silence isn't just a reaction, it's a statement of your strength and self-worth. As more time passes, the phase 3, growing discomfort and insecurity, silence you created starts to evolve into something she can't ignore. What once felt like freedom, a break from your presence, now begins to feel unsettling. The small signs of emptiness have grown into a persistent discomfort, nagging at her in quiet moments. And the more she tries to brush it off, the more it creeps into her thoughts. At first, it's subtle. She catches herself wondering why you haven't reached out. She tells herself it's no big deal, that you're probably busy, or that you'll eventually come back like always. But deep down, that confidence she had in your return starts to waver. The silence is no longer just a gap in her routine. It's a mirror reflecting the choices she made, and it's starting to make her question herself. This discomfort is most noticeable in the quiet moments when she's scrolling through her phone and notices your absence, or when she's out with friends and realizes something's missing. These moments of realization don't hit all at once. They build over time, like drops of water slowly filling a glass, and with each passing day that glass gets closer to overflowing. She might try to distract herself further, throwing herself into social events, work, or even other connections. But no matter how busy she keeps herself, the void remains. The distractions only serve as temporary band-aids, unable to cover the deeper wound your silence has left behind. The stability, care, and attention you once provided are gone, and nothing she does seems to fill that gap. For someone who is new in your life, this stage is especially impactful. She might have thought she could move on without a second thought, that her decision to distance herself from you was the right one. But now she's starting to feel the weight of that choice. Each interaction with someone else, each fleeting connection only highlights what she's missing. She begins to compare others to you, not just consciously, but on a deeper emotional level. And those comparisons rarely end in their favor. For someone who had been in your life longer, the discomfort runs even deeper. She thought she could take your presence for granted, that no matter how distant she became, you would always be there now. As the silence stretches on, she starts to realize she was wrong. The life she thought would feel without you now feels heavier, colder, and more isolated. The absence she once dismissed as insignificant has become a weight she can't ignore. On your side, this stage is both a test and an opportunity. Discomfort she's feeling is a natural consequence of the boundaries you've set. It's not about punishing her, it's about reclaiming your time, energy, and self-worth. And while she's grappling with her unease, you have the chance to focus on what truly matters, your growth. Stoicism reminds us that discomfort is an essential part of transformation. It forces us to confront our vulnerabilities and challenges us to rise above them. Right now, her discomfort is teaching her the value of what she lost, while your discipline is shaping you into a stronger, more confident man. During this stage, it's crucial to resist the urge to break the silence. You might feel tempted to check in to see how she's doing, or to remind her of your presence, but doing so would undermine the progress you've made. Your silence is working not just on her, but on you. It's teaching you patience, self-control, and the power of letting go. As the days turn into weeks, her discomfort will grow into something she can't escape. She'll find herself thinking about you more often, wondering what you're doing and whether you've moved on. And with each passing day, the realization that she may have lost you for good becomes harder to ignore. This stage is a reminder of how far you've come. The man you were at the beginning of this journey, the one who might have chased, begged, or pleaded, is no longer here. You've transformed into someone who values himself enough to walk away from situations where he isn't respected or appreciated. And that transformation is what makes your silence so powerful. The discomfort she's feeling now is only the beginning. It's the first step toward her understanding what she let go of, and it's a testament to the impact you've had on her life. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and trust the process. This discomfort isn't just a reflection of her choices, it's a reflection of your growth. As the Phase 4 failed attempts to fill the void, silence stretches on the void you left behind, becomes increasingly difficult for her to ignore what started. As subtle discomfort has grown into a persistent ache, and she realizes she needs to do something about it. Her first instinct? Fill the emptiness. But here's where the struggle begins, because what she's searching for isn't something she can easily replace. She starts with distractions, nights out with friends, new hobbies, or scrolling endlessly on her phone, anything to keep her mind occupied. For a brief moment, these activities might seem to work. They provide a temporary escape from the silence, a way to avoid thinking about what's missing. But distractions only go so far. The void is still there, waiting in the quiet moments. When she's alone with her thoughts, eventually she tries to fill the gap with new connections. Maybe she starts dating again, talking to someone new, or reconnecting with an old flame. On the surface, it might seem like she's moving on, but underneath these efforts often fall short. Why? Because what she's looking for isn't just another relationship. It's the depth, stability, and authenticity you brought to her life. And no matter how hard she tries, those qualities aren't easily found. The people she meets might seem exciting or interesting at first, but as time goes on, the comparisons begin. She notices the subtle differences, the way they don't understand her like you did, the way they miss the small details you always remembered, or the way the conversations lack the depth she once took for granted. These realizations build slowly, creating a growing sense of frustration for someone who is new in your life. This stage can be particularly eye-opening. She might have thought you were replaceable, that another man could step into your role without a second thought. But now she's starting to see that what you offered wasn't ordinary, it was rare. And every failed attempt to replicate it only reinforces the value of what she lost for someone who had been in your life longer. This frustration cuts even deeper. She believed she could explore other options while keeping you as a fallback, someone she could return to when things didn't work out. But now, as the silence persists, she's confronted with the reality that you're no longer waiting those shallow connections she thought could replace you. Don't offer the loyalty, understanding, or emotional depth you provided. This stage is often marked by internal conflict. She might question whether she made the right choice in letting you go. Was I too quick to move on? Did I underestimate him? These questions linger, growing louder with each failed attempt to fill the void. And while she wrestles with her doubts, you're continuing to grow stronger, more confident, and more self-assured for you. This stage is a crucial turning point. It's easy to fall into the trap of wondering if someone else is doing what you used to do for her, if they're the one she's choosing now. But remember, the value you brought to her life can't be duplicated. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and what you can control is your own growth and mindset. Let go of the need to compare yourself to others. Instead, focus on becoming the man you've always wanted to be. As her frustration grows, so does her awareness of what she let slip away. She begins to realize that the people she's meeting don't measure up to the standard you set. They don't provide the same sense of security, understanding, or connection. And with each failed attempt, the void you left behind feels larger, more significant, and more permanent for her. This stage is a humbling experience. It forces her to confront the reality that not all connections are created equal, and that what she had with you wasn't as easily replaceable as she thought for you. It's an empowering reminder of your worth. By maintaining your silence and focusing on your growth, you've shown her and yourself that you're not just another option. You're someone who commands respect and leaves a lasting impact. As this phase comes to an end, her frustration shifts into something deeper: regret. But for you, it's a victory. You've stayed true to yourself, resisted the urge to chase, and proven that your worth isn't defined by someone else's recognition. Keep moving forward because the best is yet to come. Regret is a slow phase 5, unavoidable regret creeping force. It doesn't strike all at once. It builds over time, fueled by the growing realization of what she let go. By now, she's faced the discomfort of your absence and the frustration of failed attempts to replace you. Now, she's standing face to face with an undeniable truth. She made a mistake at first. The regret shows up in quiet moments. She remembers how you always made her feel seen, valued, and supported. She replays those memories, the small acts of kindness, the inside jokes, the way you seem to understand her in ways others never could. Each memory is like a thread weaving together a picture of what she had and what she lost. And the weight of that picture grows heavier with each passing day. She might not admit it, not to herself, and certainly not to anyone else, but the regret is there. It's in the way she hesitates before sending a text, wondering if you'd even respond. It's in the way she looks through old photos or scrolls back through messages, searching traces of the connection she once took for granted. These actions might seem small, but they're driven by a much deeper realization. She let go of something rare, something valuable, and then she might never find it again. For someone who was new in your life, this stage can be particularly humbling. She might have thought she could move on without a second thought, that letting you go was just another decision in a of choices. But now she's starting to see that what she lost wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just another fleeting connection. It was something that brought meaning and stability to her life. And that's not something she can easily replace. For someone who had been in your life longer, the regret cuts even deeper. She thought she knew. You thought she understood your value. But now as the silence stretches on, she realizes she underestimated you. The life she thought would feel complete without you now feels empty. And that emptiness is a constant reminder of the mistake she made on your side. This stage is a testament to your growth. The regret she's feeling isn't something you caused. It's the natural consequence of her own choices. Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control. And her regret is one of those things. It's not your responsibility to fix it or ease her, not yours. As the regret deepens, she might feel compelled to reach out. It could start with a casual message testing the waters or a more vulnerable apology. Regardless of how she chooses to express it, the underlying message is the same. She knows what she lost. But here's the key. Her regret isn't the end goal of your silence. It's simply a byproduct. The real goal was always about reclaiming your power, your confidence, and your sense of self-worth. This is where many men struggle when she expresses regret, the temptation to rush back to strong. After all, hearing someone acknowledge your value feels validating. But remember, this isn't about her recognition, it's about maintaining the boundaries and strength you've built during this process. If you choose to engage, do so on your terms, not hers. For her, regret is a powerful teacher. It forces her to confront the consequences of her actions and the reality of what she lost for you. It's a reminder of your growth. The man who might have chased, begged, or pleaded for attention is no longer here. You've evolved into someone who understands his worth. Someone who doesn't settle for less than he deserves. As this stage comes to a close, her regret reaches its peak. She's left wondering if she'll ever find someone like you. Again, if she's permanently lost the connection she once dismissed. For you, it's a moment of clarity, a chance to see how far you've come and to recognize the strength you've gained through this journey. Regret may be unavoidable for her, but for you, it's a stepping stone. It's proof that your silence wasn't just powerful, it was transformative. So stand tall, hold firm, and remember, you've already won this conclusion. Reclaiming your power journey wasn't just about her, it was about you. It was about rediscovering your strength, reclaiming your self-worth, and proving to yourself that you don't need anyone's validation to feel whole. Your silence wasn't a punishment or a tactic, it was a declaration of self-respect. It was your way of saying, I know my value, and I won't settle for less through this process. You've shown her, and most importantly yourself, that you're not just an option. You're the standard. The absence you created wasn't empty. It was filled with power, growth, and transformation. While she spent this time grappling with discomfort, frustration, and regret, you've been building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and growth. Everything else, her feelings, her choices, and her regrets, is beyond your influence, and that's okay. By letting go of what you can't control, you freed yourself from the weight of her approval and discovered the strength within. So, where do you go from here? You move forward. Whether she reaches out or remains silent, whether she regrets her choices or not, none of it defines your worth. The man you've become during this process is proof that you're capable of thriving regardless of her actions. You've reclaimed your power, and that's a victory no one can take away. This is your story now. It's not about chasing someone who didn't see your value. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to chase. You've grown, you've endured, and you've emerged stronger. And as you continue on this path, remember, your silence was never just an absence. It was the loudest statement you could make. If this journey resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Hit the like button, subscribe for more insights, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And in the comments, let me know, what does your silence mean to you? Let's keep building the strength together.